Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The Welsh Government has set out plans to change the way it promotes the use of the Welsh language today. Now, this is a sensitive area of public policy. It inevitably, any change can cause a row. Those keen on Welsh, to some extent, feel that one innocuous-sounding proposal, which is to abolish the job of Welsh Language Commissioner and replace the job with a Welsh Language Commission, is a potential threat to the identity and culture of Welsh speakers. The government of Wales has talks of the bureaucracy of the current rules and the need to reform them. So should they be trying to make life easier for example, non-Welsh companies? Or should they be doing more for the language and the people who speak it? Before we do discuss that, let me infuse some fact into the debate. In 1901, half the population of Wales could speak the language. Now the figure is, it's actually not even a quarter, it's just shy of 700,000 people. And only around half those people are fluent in Welsh. According to the official census figures, all the Welsh speakers can also speak English. What is true, though, is that there's been growth in Welsh speaking since the introduction of the Welsh Language Act in 1993. With me now, Ruth Dawson is the Wales editor of the Conversation news website, and the novelist Julian Ruck is in Carmarthen. Very good evening to you both. Okay. Now, Ruth, you feel strongly about Welsh, but how much of it do you actually speak?
Not much at all. I can say the basics, Bora, you know, the colours, the numbers.
So what's the importance of it to you as a sort of small Welsh speaker living a Welsh person?
Well, it's a huge part of Welsh culture. I mean, I wish I could speak more Welsh, and, you know, I do think that this government drive is fantastic, you know, for showing how important the language is to the people of Wales. You know, like I said, I just wish I could speak a bit more myself.
Julian, I mean, is it possible that actually most people in Wales are a bit like Ruth? They sort of believe in the language even if they don't really speak it?
Well, let me firstly say that I have nothing against a Welsh speaker, but the statistics that you use, they cloud over whether someone can read or write the language. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the expense to the taxpayer, that's the English taxpayer as well as the Welsh, is far outraged by the number of people who can speak it. I mean, you're talking about 150 odd million a year. Now, you'd say to someone who's dependent on the health service that you've got to wait because X, Y, Z. They're not going to be happy with that if they know that this money is going to the Welsh language. Now, you know, it is, I mean, nobody has mentioned in the news reports about Mary Hughes, the Welsh Language Commissioner, being an ex-chairwoman of the Welsh Language Society. Now, that is a conflict of interest and shouldn't be allowed. But that is the extent of the situation that we've got.
Ruth, I mean, there is a sort of classic liberal position here, which says no one should be discouraged from speaking Welsh. Mm-hmm. Everyone should be allowed to speak Welsh, and we'll see how many people choose to speak it and how many have it as a hobby, how many speak it as their sort of main language, how companies independently decide how to speak it. Is there not something to be said for that position?
I mean, you know, in an ideal world, everyone would just be left to their own devices and you know, pick up Welsh naturally and get on with it. But
well, they may choose not to pick it up, and they may say, look, it's not for me. Why do I need to have to, you know, pick it up if they don't want to? And you'd leave it to them. Yeah,
I mean, you know, languages aren't the easiest thing to learn, are they? But I do think that people need help. You know, I mean, since, well, for as long as I've been alive, you know, the Welsh Government and the people of Wales have been encouraged to learn Welsh. I had Welsh language education in school, but the fact of the matter is that I didn't pick up enough of it. My education wasn't good enough, and so now there needs to be a bigger push to make sure that more people are learning the language and using it every day.
Mm. But you see, but hang on, there's the key there. You know, you can go to a Welsh medium school and come out of it and you cannot speak Welsh. What's the point in all the money? It's nonsense, because the S4C is down, Radio Cymru is down, the census of 2011 is down. All of them are down. All this money that they're pumping into the language is not making more people speak Welsh. I mean, that's a fact.
Ruth?
It's a fact.
I mean, I think you'll find then that, you know, across the board in Wales, a lot of English language Welsh media has lost its audience as well. And, you know, there are new forms of Welsh language media, especially online, that are building up a new audience, especially in the under 40 category.
Is there an issue around economic development? Is it a deterrent to people, to companies or English companies or international companies who have no Welsh speakers in them at all, in investing in Wales, in putting something in Wales, if they're thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to have all this Welsh, you know, these Welsh language issues. If we're thinking between an English region or a Welsh part of Wales, it just tips the balance?
I mean, I couldn't speak from experience there, but, you know, I don't think that's the case. You know, the Welsh Government has done a lot of work to encourage a lot of international companies to come to Wales. And, you know, they sort of don't see it as a barrier at all.
Julian?
But hold on there. Hold on.
Briefly.
This is a nationalist argument. And nationalism turns companies, whether they be small, medium or large, it turns them away. You say to a company, come and work in Wales, and then you give them a massive bill to convert everything to Welsh. They're going to take a hike,
Julian?
and it's a hike left.
Julian, Ruth, thanks both very much indeed. Thanks.